Dan Willis here, and we're talking about the credit report dispute process and how this really works, along with some tips with it. And what it really starts with is the FCRA. That's the Fair Credit Reporting Act. This is a piece of federal legislation, it's law, and it entitles you and every consumer to dispute any item on your credit reports that you believe is questionable, inaccurate, not correct, you name it. This law also, and it was passed, like we said, way back in 1970, but it requires the credit bureaus to investigate consumer disputes. That's a big piece of this law. The credit bureaus have to investigate consumer disputes in order to comply with this law. And that'll be important here in just a second. But we want to mention, you have three separate credit reports: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, just like there's three separate credit bureaus. These companies do not communicate with one another, and you might have different information on each one of these credit reports. This is important because when you go through and you dispute, you can dispute your credit report yourself. You can hire a professional. More on that in a second, but if you decide and you go forward and dispute it yourself, if you want to dispute an item on your Experian credit report, you'll have to file a dispute with Experian. If you wanted to dispute, and if that same item was also on your Equifax credit report, then you again would have to file another dispute, but this one would be with Equifax. Does that all make sense? Sometimes folks think that these guys are connected or they communicate or something. You have to Each one is a separate document with a separate business attached to it. And here's the standard operating procedure no matter how you go forward. The credit bureaus, they're required, like we mentioned, to investigate consumer disputes. But the cold, harsh truth is they have to spend money and resources having somebody actually conduct that investigation. Therefore, somebody somewhere decided to give the credit bureaus the authority and the power to deem your dispute valid or invalid. If it's invalid, they don't have to investigate. They don't have to spend money conducting an investigation. Only if it's valid. Critics say this is like the biggest, backwards, most whatever you want to call it, because it is so, none of it makes any sense, I guess is the point. And that's why most people, and often people, get so frustrated and they give up, because unfortunately, and the critics believe that that's the credit bureau's intention. We've yet to hear from anybody, and if you happen to be the one, please let us know, but we've yet to hear from anybody on their first dispute attempt to be found valid and the credit bureaus conduct an investigation. Instead, more often they'll send, this isn't valid because XYZ, and like we said, most believe this is nothing more than just a stall tactic in hopes to get you just to give up on it. It really doesn't make any sense. So most people will either give up and just live with bad credit. Other people will stay persistent, which you can do, and jump through all these hoops to make sure that your dispute actually gets through, it gets investigated, and then the credit bureau follows the laws and they remove this information. By the way, the credit bureaus have been fined by the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, multiple times since 1970 for not following this rule. And then the other option, please don't give up, but the other option is to actually get help, and these people are going to do it make sure you don't pay hourly, do an affordable monthly rate. You'll have a few months, everybody's situation is different, but you can have professionals jump through all these hoops for you and just really make it a lot easier. However you choose to move forward, please do move forward, don't give up. And if you'd like a free, no obligation credit consultation, you can call 1-855-655-9870. Again, that's for a free, no obligation credit consultation. The number is 1-855-655-9870. This is Dan Willis. Please subscribe and join our congregation. We're also going to include a link in the description below for some more at our website. We've got a free report available there as well, the 7 super simple steps to clean credit. Please have a fantastic day and looking forward forward to talking to you again here soon.